Okay,
Okay,
let's
Judy,
get
thank you.
started. Good morning, everyone. Again, welcome to our Saturday morning webinar. And today we are going to learn about our path to prosperity. My name is Judy Feldhausen, and I am joined by my awesome co-host, Bob Wischmeier. Good morning, Bob.
Yeah, good morning, Judy. I'm sorry for the echo. Is it still bad?
No,
Okay, great. Well, yeah, it's great to be here this morning, and it's been kind of a long week, and I found a little struggling a little bit this morning, getting my energy level up, but it's good. So we'll talk about the power of relationships. How does that sound?
I think that's a great thing, and it's such an important part of not only our business but our life relationships. And I actually spoke to someone. I spoke to a lot of people yesterday, but one of the people actually is doing a class on making strong, deep, heartfelt connections, and she believes that that is the basis of all good business.
Well, it is, Judy. And when I was just kind of looking through and studying this chapter in Path to Prosperity, and I took a look at Zig Ziglar's thought here, I was once again struck by how important people like Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and others are to all of us who are in this kind of a business. It's the power of relationships is just huge, especially in our business. Of course, we know that with respect to family and friends and things, but gosh, if we're going to build a business, we have to have people, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're starting to build a business, it's a huge challenge of who to talk to and how to talk to them. So today we're going to talk about both, kind of, right?
Well, we are, and one of the things that our Path to Prosperity shares with us is the fact that, the size of our friends, our family, size of where we live, even like for myself, where I live clear out in the country, that it doesn't determine whether or not we can build a business or not. That's not really how this works. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this book starts on a new distributor, or maybe a newly motivated distributor, to actually look at who they are should be talking to. Who do you contact first? Who do you contact second? And so they define it as low-hanging fruit, and I kind of renamed it a little bit to out of reach fruit.
It's a great analogy. We have fruit trees here on our property. I grow cherries and apples and pears and a variety of berries and nut trees, and I know all about low-hanging fruit. It's by far the easiest to grab out of the tree. But you've got to get it all. And so some of that is a little bit out of reach. So we need to talk about that.
Absolutely. So, well, you know what? I think I skipped a slide here.
I think they're out of order just slightly, but that's all right.
Okay. Yep, they are out of order. Thanks. I don't know. This was done very quickly this week. So who do you already know?
I think these are the kinds of initial questions that we always ask when we enter this kind of a business model. Who could benefit from our products? We have to kind of separate things right. And who would benefit? You think about people with struggles or problems, health issues, and things of that nature. Those are the first people that come to your mind. We used to talk a lot about how Who do you know that has cardiovascular issues? Who do you know that has high blood pressure? Those kinds of things, diabetics, etc. And boy, it just brings an enormous group of people directly into your thought process right away.
Yes,
those are the folks
it does. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the people who really benefit from our products.
And so all of us probably know people that have those challenges, considering that 80% of Americans over the age of 65 are on some type of medication.
Yeah, it's true. And the handbook or the worksheet here talks about creating a fast 15 exercise. In other words, trying to get 15 people on your list of folks. You could almost fill that up with just who could benefit from our products, right? Because we all know people who need help.
Exactly.
One of the struggles, Judy, I think, I'm getting this echo back on my end too, so I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, one of the struggles that I have found during my tenure as a Synergy distributor is that most people who are on medication, that medication's paid for either by their medical insurance or by Medicare, whatever their medical situation is. But supplements are not. And if if that day ever comes when where the government starts looking at healthcare rather than prescription medication, we may be in a different situation. But when you have to pay for supplementation, that's different, right?
It can be a challenge unless you're the type of person that doesn't like to be on prescription drugs. Or I found out in working with chiropractors that if someone has a insurance plan, not Medicare, but an insurance plan, and they have an HSA, they can buy Synergy products with their HSA account.
What a benefit. Yeah, that's great. So we really are looking for those individuals who don't want to be on meds, who don't mind, the expense of supplementation that works naturally versus some kind of a chemical.
Exactly. And that's going to be a conversation, which we're going to talk about later on how to talk about that. But there's also people that are looking to earn an income in our sphere of influence. And so it's good to be on the lookout for those people that could benefit from a small to medium-sized paycheck, right? Either something that's part-time, a few hours a week, or something that they can move into full-time.
That's exactly right. One of the early mistakes that many of us made as Synergy distributors is we didn't learn to designate between a potential customer and a distributor. We didn't get that. We've taught that for the last several years. I think really I credit Dan Hammer for picking up on that originally, that how important the customers are rather than just distributors. And but once we designate that, once we listen to people and pay attention to what their needs are, we're able to determine, well, this individual is going to make a great customer, but they would not be a great distributor, and we have to figure that out.
Yes, and I think so. So everyone on this webinar right now are Synergy distributors, and many for years. And there may be someone listening that is brand new to network marketing. But either way, I challenge everyone that is listening to this to start a list and put on 15 names on that list of people you already know.
Yeah. It's not hard.
And then there's the out of reach fruit, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how many times I've heard strong synergy distributors say it's not who you know, it's who your friends know that can make the difference in your business.
Yes, yes. Or even people that you just have not had the chance to connect with, and to be outgoing and welcoming enough to go out and meet people, either from your home or, as the world is opening it up, face to face.
Friends we haven't met. Yeah. You know, we do these little things in life. I have a separate checking account for my business, of which, by the way, is something we should all be involved with, or have. Excuse me, this echo's throwing me off. Sorry, Judy. But we should have separate checking account for the business. That opens up some opportunities as well. I've gone into the bank on many occasions and had a teller or a different teller say to me, well, what is this? What is Heartbeat LLC? You know, what is this company that you have? It opens up that discussion.
And isn't that how David Munoz and Dan Hammer met?
Yeah.
So absolutely, absolutely. Our day-to-day activities, which isn't even on this list. You see, LinkedIn is spelled wrong, but not even on this list is great. I used to be in a networking group that was they called it the 3-foot rule. You know, if you're 3 feet away from someone, you may want to meet them and talk to them and engage in conversation that could lead anywhere.
Well, it's good counsel, you know, no matter how you look at it. There's something about being kind, reaching out to people anyway in life. So I watch my wife at the grocery store, who's always so kind to the checker and the person that's bagging up some groceries or whatever, opens up conversation with them, and it just changes people's days. You know, it's a remarkable thing. We sat in a airport, I don't know, a year ago. I've flown so much I can't remember, but I got up. We were sitting there. I got up and to get on our flight, and the gal in front of me, I looked down. I said, "Hey, I really like your shoes." And she looked at Bonnie and said, "I really like your glasses." It was the darndest thing. Those are those little exchanges, though, that open up conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you are not out and about or need additional people to talk to, there are really more formal ways to meet people. And so this list is not all encompassing, but it does give you some ideas. And I know I guess I've worked with all of everything on this list at one time or another.
You're a hero. Well, one of my best distributors is Jim French from the Canyons Athletic Club. And that athletic club has been selling Synergy products out of their club for years, probably 10 years, maybe, something like that. And Jim orders product every month. You know,
wow.
Great helper.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know I've even been on the board for my local Chamber of Commerce, and that gives lets people know that you are concerned about the community, but it also puts focus on your business because they know that you have a business. So it's a great way to network. And I used to have a meetup group of just holistic health practitioners. And, that was a fun way to meet other people in the business and to kind of see what else is out there in the way of natural health. And
yeah, meetup groups are really helpful.
They really are. And there's something new on the horizon called Clubhouse. I don't know if anyone is participating in Clubhouse, if you want to unmute your mic quickly, and if you've attended a Clubhouse meeting.
But that's new to me, Judy. I'm not familiar with it.
So Clubhouse is actually, it's groups of specifically focused an hour. And it could be absolutely anything from gardening, kind of like the old meetup group, but this is on the phone. And you can join a group at any time. You don't have to register. It's I get notices on my phone saying, let's see. I don't even know what is going on right now, but Tony McClellan is talking about burn the one-page resume. So that's what is going on right now in Clubhouse, but you get notifications, or you can look and see what's going on. And people have really improved their business that way. Just it's an amazing concept. And if you want an invitation, you have to ask for it. So you can ask me for an invitation. I have invitations, 5 available, I think.
So it's just a phone number you call?
It's not a phone number. You get a notification on your phone and you click it and you're connected.
Oh,
and it's a bunch of people just talking. Sometimes it's a bunch of people talking. Sometimes it's someone presenting. It just depends on what the focus of the topic is. Sure.
But it's when you look at this particular list of interest groups and companies, all the things that are on this list, it really depends on how much energy you have, how much you want to build your business, where you want to take your business, what direction you want to go in. If you're trying to create a legitimate home-based business, these are places you need to go. This is the stuff you need to do. If you're just kind of hanging back and looking for more customers, taking a little bit easy, just looking for a little bit of an income each month, then you can approach it different. But that's the value or the good thing about the business that we have. We can do it any way we want.
Absolutely. And you can just get involved in a group that has your personal interest, not even your business interest in mind.
One of the things that Dan has done for years has been he literally sells product from his home and ships it to people. I've done that in the past. I don't do that so much anymore, but that's another option that you have. You can actually inventory product and send it out. Dan built his business around his YouTube videos and doing that kind of business model. It worked really well for him. So the business morphs and changes a little bit as we go along. But it's
absolutely.
All good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I thought this was interesting that they talked about asking questions.
Yeah.
So once you make the connection, then what? I know at the beginning of my network marketing career, I was paralyzed. So I'd meet someone and I would go, okay, now what? I don't know what to do. And there's that old, the old telling them more than they need to know, want to know, or, wanting to get away from you because you're regurgitating on them.
Yeah, I remember a symposium we did in Spokane a few years ago, and we had Eric Glenn as a presenter. One of the things that he said was, you've got to stop throwing up on people. Just giving people so much information. Well, we get excited. We do. All this too. And but we have to be cautious of that. I think this ask first, this is key. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We need to listen a little more, don't we?
Absolutely. And if anyone is interested in the art of asking questions on YouTube, Dan Hammer has videos, I think several, talking about the art of asking questions. And what we're going to do today is talk a little bit about some specific questions to ask people that you can start a conversation for. So there's basically 2 slides here of specific questions. And the first is product questions. And I would suggest that you take a screenshot of these product questions and the business questions, so that if you want to kind of study what you should talk about, sometimes that's important, so you don't get tongue-tied.
These are great. I mentioned that I ran into a friend of mine in a parking lot a few weeks ago, and I can't remember all the circumstances, but he'd taken the Johnson & Johnson COVID shot and ended up in the hospital with a heart condition shortly thereafter. And he's a pharmacist. He knows his stuff. And in the course of that conversation, he asked me, how much vitamin D3 do you take? How much K2 do you take? And in that conversation, he indicated that he was taking 50,000 units of D3 every day. It was a very interesting conversation. He asked me what supplements I was taking, this pharmacist. And very interesting stuff, boy. It sure does open up a conversation.
It certainly does. It certainly does. And I think we're going to talk about this later, but showing up to serve and not to sell makes a huge difference. I still remember the story of Abe Lincoln, who was actually teaching a college class and asked one of the students to put a pair of spectacles on that had silver dollars in them. And they were talking about the act of selling product. Why, I don't know. But when the student put the spectacles on, Mr. Lincoln asked the student, "What do you see?" And the response was, "I can't see anything. The money is in the way." And I've remembered that story for years and years, to make sure that the money doesn't get in the way of my conversations.
Well, you know, in the handbook here, they quote Tiffany Peterson, who actually, Judy, I don't know who that is. Do you know who Tiffany Peterson is?
I don't know who Tiffany Peterson is.
I don't either. But anyway, she talks about show up and serve instead of showing up to sell. And it's just interesting, you know, because people they want to know whether or not you care. I think that's kind of the bottom line. That's why we need to listen a little bit more than to sell. You know?
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so here's a list of the profit questions. So again, I request that you take a picture of these to give you an idea of, when you're talking to people, what you can refer to, start a conversation with, continue a conversation with. Use your own words. That's so important, that it has to sound like it's coming from you and not from a book.
You know, we talk about the importance of having multiple streams of income. Boy, there's something to be said for that. It's something I figured out a long, long time ago, and worked hard at that. You know, Bonnie and I ended up with some rental properties and a farm property, and you know, jobs, and it's what we had to do in order to raise our family. But you have to look at those profit questions and ask yourself, well, what are my financial goals in the next year? We took a Dave Ramsey class, a financial class, paid $100 to take the class, and it was extremely valuable. We learned a lot of things about how to focus on the future and getting out of debt and those kinds of things. But we need to ask these kinds of questions. You know, it's important.
Right, because how will you know unless you ask?
Yeah, yeah. You know, when I looked at this picture, I thought how beautiful those three people are.
And
It's an interesting thought.
it is yes, and the thoughtfulness in their demeanor.
Yeah, there's just something about that picture. It kind of captures your attention. Lovely people, and then with this these thoughts on the side, showing up to serve instead of showing up to sell. You know, sharing stories, personal experiences. You know, asking questions, and it's okay if people say no, right? Go for no. It's perfectly fine.
And the average, if you look at statistics, if you're one of those numbers type of people, the average is that 10 people will say no before one says yes. So we have to remember not to give up if people say no, because it's not an if, it's a when. And if you can just stay the course, just keep asking, because people will say yes. And I love what it said here about be prepared for yes, because I remember one of the first yeses I got, I'm like, I was taken aback and almost like, what did you say? What do I do now? They said yes. So, so important to be prepared for yes.
Well, it is, Judy, and so often we'll share a thought with people, talk to them about health issues or the products that we use, products we market, whatever, and nothing is actually happening in the moment. And yet time goes by, and oftentimes that circles back around. We'll have people call and say, hey, my mom's having this problem, and I remember you said something about this stuff you were using. And it's amazing how that works. So it's those touches, those what is it, 7 touches or however that works.
Right. And everyone's numbers are different, and you don't need to know the numbers. Just be prepared for the yes when it comes along.
Yeah, absolutely. And share,
and share.
Listen and share. Well, all of a sudden I can see everybody on the side of my screen.
I know. Isn't that awesome?
Well, anyway, this has been a really interesting chapter in our workbook. And if you haven't, or those of you who are on the webinar, if you haven't taken the time to pull that out of that Path to Prosperity workbook out, you really should do that. You can, if you print it, you can jot down your thoughts. You can go through those lists and write down people's names, that 15 fast list or whatever. It's kind of fun to do those things. So here's Tiffany Peterson again, Judy.
Yes, and I love this because this is an expanded list of the 3 that so many people have used for years, which was some will, some won't, so what? But I love the addition because someone's waiting.
Well, indeed. Yeah. There are people's lives change. I mean, I had a life-changing experience a week ago, still kind of struggling with that. But things happen in life, and things change. So some will, some won't. Doesn't matter.
Not in the big picture. It does not.
The big picture, no. And what we have to offer has so much value to it. I think that's where I always kind of fall back on. I know that Synergy products work. Their efficacy is well, it's just bulletproof. So because of that, I'm always willing and ready to share with people. Whether I'm trying to build my business or I'm just trying to help a friend. It's like Dane says, I'm doing people a favor when I talk to them about these products. And that's really what we're doing. And I'm cautious, Judy, when I talk to people to try to get the elephant out of the room quickly as possible. And that elephant is always money. How much does this cost? You start talking to people about products that you market, one of the first things that comes to their mind is, okay, how much is this? That kind of a thing, you know. Is it valuable? Is it worth it? So I talk about the price of our products right away. And it's not uncommon for someone to say, well, is this expensive? And I say, no, not at all. No, not expensive at all. Not in the big scheme of things. I haven't missed a day of work in, 11 years? You know,
Wow.
there's some real value to that.
And building a house all alone.
Oh, gracious. Yeah, that's going to be the death of me.
So I think that is the ending of our webinar. I know we talked a lot about a lot of different things today. This particular chapter is jam-packed with so much information that I think it might be about the takeaways and what you do subsequently that is going to make a difference in your career.
Well, that's right. You know, there need to be some action items when you come off of a webinar like this. You know, what am I going to do? You know, I can write some things down. I could print off this path to prosperity. I could create a job description, you know, whatever. Print out those 4 SWs and, you know, make copies of that Fast 15, whatever. And, you know, put together a plan of action going forward.
Absolutely. So before we say goodbye today, are there any questions that Bob and I could answer?
So Judy and Bob, I don't have a question, but you had made a statement that you get 10 no's for every 1 yes that you get. And so on your one slide that you have, it says, be prepared for no. And I think that's the area where most people aren't prepared for because they don't know how to exit from a no. And to me, the easiest thing, I'm not a big proponent of business cards, except for no's. And that's when you give a person your business card, because the easiest way to exit from a no is to say, you know, I respect where you're coming from. Hey, look, here's my business card. If for some reason you change your mind about your health, or if you run into some people who have some health issues that you think I could help them with, just pass my card on to them. And if they're interested, they can call me. And if you change your mind, you can call me. And that's the easiest way to graciously leave a no, and at the same time plant a seed for a future contact.
Thank you. That is so very true. And it gives the person the ability to actually not feel bad about saying no.
Correct.
Because sometimes it's that way on the other end too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you take the awkwardness of a no out by doing that.
I appreciate that comment of graciously leaving that conversation. That's important too, Dan.
Any other?
Awesome stuff. Well, Judy, thank you so much, everybody, for being on the webinar today. Thanks for joining us.
Before you go, this is Donald.
Hi, Donald.
Hi, Donald.
I'm was a little bit reluctant to share this story because it was one of my distributors' project. And 2 weeks ago, actually toward the end of last month, he had the opportunity to market to a club, a shopping club, something like a Costco or Walmart. So it was a road show. So we spent a week in there. We got in Monday morning quite early, and it was set up and all that, kind of follow the rules. And then we had a little bit of success on the first day, the Monday morning. And what we did was we sharpened our message, and we led with Price Smart. The members have listened and members have spoken and Price Smart have listened. And they're now carrying Synergy's products, with the main one being Pro-Arginine Plus. And have you ever heard of Pro-Arginine Plus? And there are a lot of people who might not have heard of Pro-Arginine Plus, but they heard of arginine. And with that, the conversation got started because there are a number of radio advertisements that talks about arginine as a generic product. So we got to talk about Pro-Arginine as the arginine that is being even discussed. So one of the things that happened by sharpening our message, our sales doubled for the week. Every day, doubled our sales, literally. To the point that the headquarters, which is not in Barbados, they wanted to know, when they met, they want to know what we were doing, what we were selling. In fact, the manager came down in the middle of the week. He got some feedback, and he asked us, what are you selling? I mean, we are seeing the numbers, so we want to know. He ended up buying product at the end because we were able to explain to him what Pro-Arginine Plus is and what it does. And so we end up also selling some immune booster. And to Dan's point about business cards, they haven't started to carry the product yet as in their line. He's got the opportunity now to be a distributor for them, but that hasn't come through yet. But one of the things he did, to Dan's point, is to leave a business card with people, with the members. And he's been getting calls all week, this week, and the last week for product. So that works. And I mean, this looks like it's going somewhere because they've got stores throughout the Caribbean and into Spanish-speaking South America. So it looks a good opportunity, and I see a lot of promise here. So yes, this stuff works. Thank you, guys.
Quite a story.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Awesome. Okay, guys. Thanks so much. Judy, take care. Have a great week, and talk to you all again on Monday morning. Hope you can join our Monday morning conference call. We enjoy that. So hopefully you can join us on Monday morning.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
Judy.
Thank
Bye.
you, Bob.
Thank you. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Dave.